Most women over 40 have no idea this simple snoring fix exists.
That choking sound you make when you snore isn't just noise. It's your airway collapsing and your brain starving for oxygen all night. The goal is to take your airway from this to this. The problem is, that's exactly what those solutions don't do.
Nose strips? Nose strips do a great job of opening up your nasal passages. But it's not your nose that's the problem. It's your throat. What about pillows? I have 3. One for my legs, one to hold, and one for my head. Problem is, you could sleep with a dozen pillows. They still won't help you fix the real reason why you snore, your blocked throat. CPAPs for snoring, in my opinion, you either love them or you hate them. Me? I really couldn't stand mine. It left marks on my face, messed up my hair, and made me snore even worse. So how did I stop snoring? It's all her fault. Yeah, her. She's the one showing people how to silence snoring at home in less than 60 seconds. Watch this.
Look, I'm a woman who snores, and I kept blaming it on a stuffy nose, and I blamed it on my hormones and then my weight, but none of that made sense. At first, my husband said it was more like a purr, and he actually thought it was kind of cute, but I was embarrassed. And the worst part was how tired I was, because I kept waking up with headaches, and I was drinking so much coffee. I was in the bathroom every half hour. So when I tell you I tried absolutely everything, I did. Special pillows, nose strips, nasal sprays, a humidifier, even those weird breathing exercises that I found on Facebook. Nothing worked. And the noise in my throat just kept getting worse. So my husband started to go to bed a half hour earlier just so he could get some sleep, but he was getting really irritated and I felt completely drained. So by the time I got home from work, all I wanted to do was take a nap. But I just kept pushing through until last fall. It was the middle of the night and I woke up in a full-on panic, gasping for air. My heart was beating out of my chest and I felt so dizzy, I couldn't sit up straight. My husband rushed me to the ER and my heart rate was through the roof. None of the meds were touching it, so they had to shock my heart to get it back down to normal. I was still shaking. When the attending looked at me and asked, "Do you snore?" I told him yes. So he brought an ENT into the room and what he told me changed everything. He said that non-apnea snoring, especially for women, it's usually not about a stuffy nose. It's not about hormones or that journey. It's not about weight gain. It's actually your jaw relaxing and falling backward while you sleep. This pulls the tongue and soft tissues, which ends up blocking the airway. And when the air tries to pass this narrow passage, it creates the vibration that we call snoring. He even showed me a diagram and you could literally see how tiny the airway gets at night when someone snores. The problem is every time your airway pinches shut, your oxygen drops, so your brain panics. Your heart pumps harder to compensate, and this is happening hundreds of times a night. So your body never rests, and your heart works overtime all night long. And that strain, night after night, can eventually cause your heart to beat fast and completely out of control. That's why I woke up feeling like a zombie even after 8 full hours in bed. And he said what just happened was probably years of snoring finally catching up with me. He said he sees it all the time, women coming into the ER after ignoring their snoring for years, never realizing how dangerous it can get. Then he brought up CPAP machines, those big bulky masks that most people think of when they hear about snoring treatments. But he said they're actually for apnea and not the best option for someone like me who snores. For one, they're uncomfortable, they're noisy, they're a hassle to travel with, and at the end of the day, a CPAP just forces air into your throat. It doesn't actually solve what's causing the snoring in the first place. That's why he told me he prefers recommending MADs instead. These are custom-made mouth guards that work by gently holding your jaw in the right position while you sleep, so your airway stays open naturally, which means no snoring. And they're way more comfortable than CPAPs because they work with your body instead of just blasting air right down your throat. And they're discreet too. You can take them with you anywhere. So no one needs to know that you've got an issue or that you have one unless you tell them. And honestly, that mattered to me because I already felt so self-conscious about the whole thing. I finally figured it out. But then he mentioned the price and how long it was going to take to get one. It turns out you need a dentist. You need to see an orthodontist. You need to see an ENT, and then you need a bunch of appointments for the fittings. So the process can take months and it can cost over $2,000 because you have to pay for everything. And this is without a guarantee that you're actually going to like it. That was way more than I could afford. And after ending up in the ER, I needed something that would work right now. So I went on Amazon and I tried some cheaper mouthpieces. Let me tell you, what a disaster. You had to boil them and then you had to try to mold them yourself. And then there was one that tasted like chemicals, and no matter how much I tried to clean it, it still tasted like chemicals. Plus they were so huge and awkward in my mouth. So I would take them out throughout the night because of how uncomfortable they were. And you can't adjust them. So they forced my mouth shut. It was so frustrating.